Welcome to the introduction lesson, Overview of Order Management and Fulfillment. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to describe how order management and fulfillment processes work within the application, identify the different applications involved in the order management and fulfillment process, and explain how Oracle Order Management connects and integrates with both front-end and back-end systems. Let's get started. We'll start by exploring the business flows that the order management and fulfillment applications support. After that, we'll look at how these flows actually work within the system. The order management and fulfillment flow is basically the journey a sales order takes, from the moment it's created in Oracle Order Management or brought in from another integrated application, all the way through to fulfillment and when the invoice is sent out to the customer. In this overview lesson, we'll take a look at different types of orders you might come across. This includes orders for physical goods. We'll talk about what the process looks like for items that are shipped from the company warehouse. I'll touch briefly on dropship and back-to-back flows here, since these are covered in detail in the Advanced Supply Chain and Fulfillment Techniques course. Order for non-physical goods. This is the flow used when you're placing an order for something that doesn't need to be shipped. For example, a cloud subscription or a warranty. A return order. We'll go over what's required for a return order and how you can create one. Transfer order. A transfer order is used when you need to move goods within the same company. These don't start out in order management. Instead, they begin in supply chain orchestration and then are imported so that you can track and manage them here. We'll only cover the basics since the Advanced Supply Chain and Fulfillment Techniques course dives deeper into transfer orders. And change order. Change orders get their own lessons since they are specific controls and settings that decide how you can modify in-progress orders. For now, we'll just take a quick look at that flow. Throughout this course, we'll focus on the standard, out-of-the-box features, but keep in mind you're not limited to just the basics. You can build on and customize your implementation, and we'll talk more about extensions later on in the course. This chart breaks down the steps involved when placing a new order for physical, shippable goods. It covers the standard process for shipping from a warehouse, as well as how drop shipments and back-to-back fulfillments are handled. To start, the order header is where you capture important details, like the customer information and the requested fulfillment date. Once you've filled out the header, you add the items you want to add to the order. In this example, the item is something that needs to be shipped. Some items can even be configured, and you can choose to add coverages, either to a standard item or a configured one. Next, the system prices the item based on the rules set up in the price list. If needed, you can apply a manual price adjustment, giving you flexibility for special discounts or promotions. You also have the option to set up one-time charges or recurring charges. After you've added the item, Global Order Promising steps in to check whether the item is available and can be supplied. Then, you validate the order and submit it for fulfillment. If your process includes a credit check at this stage, the system will put the order on hold temporarily while the customer's credit gets reviewed. Once that's cleared, the item is scheduled and reserved. The next steps are to release the order for picking, confirm shipment, and finally, invoice the customer in line with your agreed contractual terms. The overall process shown here, called the DOO Order Fulfillment Generic Process, comes set up by default in the application. You can use it as is or adjust it to better fit your business requirements. We'll talk more about orchestration processes and how you can tailor them later in the course. This chart shows what the process looks like when you're dealing with goods that aren't shipped, things like software licenses or other intangible items. You'll notice that in this flow, there aren't any steps for picking or shipping. Once you submit the order, the system kicks off the bill-only process, and you can go ahead and generate an invoice. The process you see here, called DOO Bill-Only Generic Process, is available out of the box. You can use it just as it is or make changes to fit your own business requirements. Here's a quick rundown of the steps involved, along with where each one takes place in the application. Enter the order header in Order Management. Then, add your items in Order Management. If needed, configure and price the item using Configurator and Pricing. Validate and book the order in Order Management. Then, generate and send the invoices and receivables. This chart lays out the flow for processing return. While a return isn't technically a separate order type, you can add a return line to an order that includes items being ordered. The process you see here, called DOO Return Order Process, comes set up by default, so you can use it as is or customize it for your specific business needs. To return an item within a reference order. If you want to return an item from a previous order, you'll first need to make sure the fulfillment line for that item on the original order is closed. Once that's done, you'll search for the closed order, choose the line with the item you want to return, and enter the details, like how many you'll return and the reason for return. Then, you complete the return line on the new order. You can also manually adjust the price if needed. If you're returning a covered item, like a product with the protection plan, you can return just the coverage or both the product and its coverage. When you return the item, any linked coverage is also returned automatically, even if those coverage lines are across multiple orders, as long as those lines are also closed. Before issuing a credit, make sure the item has actually been returned. The confirm receipt step is optional. You don't need it in order to issue a credit to the customer. For returning an item without a reference order, you also have the option to return a standard, configured, or coverage items without needing the original sales order number. In this case, you just enter the relevant details in the order header and add the items as unreferenced return lines. You can manually override the pricing here as well. Here's how pricing works for returns. It calculates the price just like a normal sales order line, but it makes it negative for the return. It uses the pricing setup step that's active on the return or cancel date. It can handle one-time or recurring charges, as well as discounts and price adjustments. If the system can't determine the charge, it applies a zero charge, and it also checks whether the charge is refundable. To use this functionality, you'll need to make sure the right setup is in place. You can find more details in the Oracle Help Center. Here are the main steps involved in the return process, along with where they happen in the system. First, locate the original order in Order Management. Then, select the items to return in Order Management. Enter the details within Order Management. Also, create the return order within the Order Management application. Then, generate the receiving advice in Receivables, and create the RMA invoice in Receivables. Next, we'll discuss the functional architecture that makes up the Order Management application. A transfer order is basically a type of sales order you use when you need to move an item from one part of your organization to another. For example, if you need to transfer something from warehouse A to warehouse B within your company, you'd use a transfer order. The same applies if you're moving inventory from your manufacturing site in Korea to your distribution center in the USA. When the source document type is a transfer order, often called a TO, Inventory Management sends the information about the destination organization over to Order Management. This detail is stored in something called the IMT entity, which is then sent along to Global Order Promising and Shipping. One thing to note, you can't change the destination organization in Order Management. You just use Order Management to track the status of your transfer order. We won't dive into transfer orders in detail here, since the Advanced Supply Chain and Fulfillment Technique course covered them thoroughly. This flowchart walks you through what happens when you need to make changes to an order that's already been submitted. You might also hear this called revising an order or creating an order revision. To get started, you find the original order and create a revision. This lets you go in and edit the order. The types of changes you can make depend on the rules that have been set up for order revisions. For example, you might be able to cancel existing lines, add new items, or change configurations. However, these rules also set some limits. For instance, let's say a customer ordered 10 units and 7 of those have already shipped. In that case, you can't make changes to the line for the 7 that are already on their way. You can only cancel or change the line for the remaining 3 units that are still backordered. Once you're done making changes to the order, you'll resubmit it for processing. From that point on, the flow works just like it does for a standard shipment of physical goods from your warehouse. The great thing is, the application will handle these changes automatically for you. The built-in change management feature adjusts the orchestration process for you whenever an order is updated. You can even set it up so that the system cancels or redoes certain orchestration steps as needed. Next, let's discuss how order management and fulfillment connect with other systems, both on the front end and the back end. The graphic you see here highlights the full range of features offered by the order-to-cash process, which includes the order management and fulfillment steps we've been discussing. You get all of this functionality when Oracle Order Management is integrated with other Oracle Fusion Cloud SEM applications. Just a note, things like credit checks, transportation planning, and compliance screening can happen not only when you submit an order, but also during fulfillment. We provide pre-built integrations with the applications shown here to make this smooth and efficient. For this course, we're going to focus on just a specific set of these applications as they relate to order management and fulfillment. Then, we'll touch on which applications feed into or depend on these flows. Here are the main applications we'll be working with. Order management. For capturing orders, applying constraints, managing holds and approvals, using pause or jeopardy features. Configurator. This is for configuring products. The pricing module, for setting up and adjusting prices. Inventory management, which is used for handling picking operations. Shipping, for shipping processes, trade compliance, and transportation management. Throughout this course, you'll learn how to put these applications to work to support the order management and fulfillment flows we talked about earlier. This is a high-level overview of how order management and fulfillment works, from capturing the sales order all the way through to fulfillment. The flowchart shows that it all starts with capturing the order, which you can do either by importing orders from other systems or by entering them manually. Once the order is in, order management takes over and processes the orders needed. After that, you submit the order, and the system automatically runs a few checks and validations in the background. At this point, an orchestration process starts up and gets assigned to the specific fulfillment line. The next main phase, fulfill orders, covers everything from orchestrating the process to managing integrations with other systems through the external interface layer. Some of the fulfillment steps can happen directly within Oracle Fusion Cloud, while others may take place in connected external systems. Here are the types of integrations that are supported. Integrations between Oracle Fusion Cloud applications. These apps work together seamlessly across different processes. We'll dive deeper into these integrations on the next slide. Integrations with other Oracle applications that aren't part of Oracle Fusion Cloud SCM are used as well. Web services you can use to connect with external order captures. Published events, which are available for specific types of integrations. The diagram on this slide highlights the different capture and fulfillment flows that order management supports. Let's take a closer look at how Oracle Fusion integrate with order management. We can group these integrations into two main categories. First, ready-to-use integrations. Some Oracle Fusion Cloud applications come with pre-built connections to order management. They're ready to go out of the box. For example, you get immediate integration with shipping within Oracle Fusion Supply Chain Management, Oracle Fusion Cloud Procurement, Oracle Fusion Cloud Inventory, Oracle Fusion Cloud Receivables, and receiving in Oracle Fusion Financials. The other group is integrations that need some setup. Other applications need a bit of configuration before you can use them alongside order management. These add extra features like planning and monitoring shipments, screening orders for trade compliance, and performing credit checks. For these, you'll need to do a bit more work up front. These applications include Oracle Fusion Cloud Transportation Management, Oracle Fusion Cloud Global Trade Management, credit checking in the Oracle Fusion Assets, Oracle Fusion Cloud Sales, and Oracle Fusion Cloud Project Management. We'll cover how to set up these and make the most of these integrations as we move through the course. Throughout this course, we'll be using a business case to demonstrate how the different each demo and practice activity will use the same scenario, but for now, let's talk about the main themes and the examples we'll see. In our scenario, some orders are Vision supplier using dropship fulfillment. In other cases, Vision buys items from their suppliers specifically to fulfill customer orders, then ships those items from their own facility using a back-to-back fulfillment process. Vision Corporation also handles change orders, meaning it can request updates to their orders even after they've been placed, and sometimes customers return items that have already been shipped. One of Vision's main business goals is to boost customer satisfaction by processing orders quickly and keeping their delivery promises. To achieve this, Vision's order managers need visibility into any potential fulfillment exceptions so that they can proactively resolve issues before they impact promised delivery dates. Various vendors, Vision Corporation chose to implement Oracle Fusion Cloud's order-to-cash solution. In this course, we'll focus on the key solution components you need to help Vision Corporation successfully implement this Oracle Fusion Cloud solution. As we conclude our lesson, you should describe